and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs. Anything that matters to you, we've got it covered here on the show. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. This week, we're continuing to put the spotlight on all things health, talking about what matters and why it matters to you. Today, we're talking about the role of health tech. What does health tech mean and how has it evolved during this pandemic? To answer some of those questions, to talk about opportunities for entrepreneurs like yourself when it comes to health tech, let me quickly introduce today's panel. First up, we have Dr. Shyam Vasudeva Rao, Co-Chair, Medical Devices Committee, FICCI, and MD, Renalyx Health Solutions, and MD, Renalyx Health Systems and Forus Health. Avinash Gupta, Managing Director, Dun & Bradstreet. Tushar Vashisht, Co-Founder and CEO, HealthifyMe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time here on the show. I want to start today's conversation by asking each of you to really, talk about 2021, what it has been like for you as entrepreneurs in this field, personally, professionally. What's the year been so far?
Look, it's been trying times for everybody, and we are no exceptions. Yes, I don't think we expected our second wave to hit so virulently, and of course, it has impacted a very large percentage of both of our customers as well as our employees. And we are all here together, suffering from the consequences of that. Having said that, as one very famous quote I remember, I think from Lord of the Rings, it's unfortunately it's not up to us to choose the times that we have, but to choose what we can do with it. So I think that's the spirit with which entrepreneurs are going out there with. For us, it has meant a lot more focus on Healthify Sense, which is a mental wellness initiative which talks about emotional support and therapies. It has meant a lot more focus on workout at home, on yoga and fitness at home, and we've made all those sessions for free inside our application. And what we are doing is trying to see how we can support our customers out there by helping them vaccinate much faster, and how we can support our customers, our employees out here, by creating COVID-specific, grants as well as insurance policies, and supporting them financially and with the resources that we have. Rest, I think I always like to believe the glass is always half full. And not half empty. And it doesn't matter what lies ahead. I'm pretty sure we'll face it together.
Yeah, I think we have seen the worst of times now, and when it started last year, we were in the middle of some regulatory process, and then all of a sudden, there is a lockdown, and then we are stranded. But the thing is that it gave us a good idea of why not we take these services, because I'm basically into ophthalmology and nephrology. So I'm talking about the nephrology part of it. A lot of them getting the COVID, if they are having already, a problem of dialysis, that they are going to dialysis, they are really at a very bad situation. So a lot of these things have given us a lot of ideas on how we can take the services to their homes. So in general, what we see is that these are concepts which have been there, but we did not have that type of, it didn't get the center stage. EMR, for example, teleservices, then remote monitoring, all this. So all of a sudden, these have started to surface, and these are the things which we see that it's becoming all the more important. So that is what we see. But the second wave has been a much more severe one, and here it is about the time and how quickly can you get detected, and how quickly can you reach out to the services. So this is a real-time problem, I would say, and this really challenges all of us to get such technologies in place.
I think the pandemic has changed everything in terms of everybody's mindset, everybody's thought process in terms of getting access to some or possibly better type of advice on a kind of a critical situation. I think that's where the ability of technology, the ability of the quickness being able to deliver that advice at the right point in time, at the right place in time becomes very relevant. So I think first of all, it's the openness of mind, it's the openness of things which people would have never thought of doing before, getting telemedicine advice, getting advice through a video call and stuff. I think most people would have not considered that as a viable option, but I think all of us have now been around this for a year and there is no other way around it. So I think first of all is the openness of the system, the openness of the mind, and I think the ability of technology be to able to really speed that change effectively going forward as well. So I think in terms of the SME space in India, I think it's about, and the MSME space in India, it's about really the quickness of the response and the agility of people who specialize with technology and telemedicine, being able to put solutions together which could be global. They don't need to be Indian only. So the solutions there could be global, could be utilized in terms of IP, could be utilized in terms of partnering, could be utilized in terms of technology. I think there were bits and pieces of which happened out of within India and then out of India into Africa and some of the other continents. But some of this could be a lot bigger going forward as well if this thing continues for much longer.
What changes and challenges did you really see during 2020 and in 21 so far for for professionals like yourself who are in some sense connected, of course, with the healthcare industry? How did you really respond to that? What could you tell us?
What I see is that there has been a lot of ups and downs now, and a lot of these investments and what I would say non-communicable disease-oriented stuff has now all of a sudden become focus of the communicable disease, that is COVID. And this is a big shift in the whole roadmap. And but then this is a temporary process, and as long as we are going to get out of it, it's fine. But going forward, I see that there will be an increased focus from all quarters, from the healthcare provider, from the government, and from every one on even individuals on healthcare, and that is something which is going to become a much more important aspect. And we are sure there will be a lot more companies which will start to work in this area, and a lot more investments will also be following it here.
No, I think it's a mix of all the things you mentioned. So I think the challenges which small businesses face have just got bigger, I guess, over the last 12, 14 months or so. The challenges have always been pretty similar. I think they've got magnified because of the challenges they were having in the macro ecosystem as well. But the biggest challenges, I think, the SMEs face for the products which they put out, and especially for the new ones which you are focusing on in terms of the health tech, med tech, is the access to markets. So I think, and especially in a virtual world, that's been a lot more difficult. Medical fairs, conferences, people traveling, people meeting, all of that hasn't been an option per se. And people hadn't done anything else but that as an option in terms of finding new markets, finding new clients. So I think access to market, getting your message out is a bigger challenge for them. The second biggest challenge obviously always remains access to finance, which I think, given our more expensive cost of capital in our home market, is a deterrent for everything. So, if you're able to get cheaper financing wherever in the world, that makes it a lot easier. So the access to finance, the amount of finance, and now more so just the access of it, and in the time period you need it, all of those three factors remain a big concern. And then obviously from an SME point of view broadly is also about, adoption of technology, which they've realized that they need to do. But it's, if you haven't done that before and if you haven't done it in a virtual world, it's a lot more difficult. You don't necessarily have the resources a large company may have. The entire business ecosystem is worried about, if I give an order to this gentleman or this, and more so an SME, will that person be in a position to deliver? Forget an SME, even large organizations, people are doubting. The second thing is that if you are a client who's selling something, the SME in India or the EdTech or the health tech, you're not sure if you'll get paid by the other person. So this worries and the concerns are on both sides.
Sure.
And I think the ecosystem coming together in terms of providing information, providing better credit information, better information on how does this person pay, what's his attitude towards payment, and what's his ability to deliver. I think those are things which technology can help pull together. And that's what the SMEs kind of, hit the brick wall, because they've never done that in a systematic manner before. So access to technology, access to credit, and access to new markets and new clients is always a challenge, but it's really shown up in the last 14 months.
Gentlemen, I have to take a quick break on that note. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here in Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight, we're talking about the opportunities for entrepreneurs in the health tech space when it comes to the pandemic. Tushar, you as an organization responded very quickly to the challenges that were thrown up by the pandemic and said that, I'm going to launch this app, I'm going to launch this service. How did you decide that this was the area that you wanted to be in, that this was where you were going to innovate, that this is what you really wanted to do?
We came up with our own internal drive called COVID-Fit, which is basically a combination of being vaccinated and also keeping fit at the same time, mentally and physically.
Yes.
So for mental and physical fitness, we've launched 3 workshops on yoga, on workout and strength and fitness at home, and that's something you can see in the app HealthifyMe. And on the vaccination piece, we launched a website called vaccinateme.in, in which you can discover slots on COVID platform and get alerted when a new slot opens up. Anytime a new slot opens up, which we're using, public open APIs as a notification and alert mechanism. So, that's how we've been rendering it.
So I have a follow-up question to that, Tushar. What helped you have that quick turnaround time? Was it having access to perhaps lots of cash, perhaps having a mentor, perhaps government support, perhaps support from industry, from your peers, from, really the ecosystem? Just walk me through that for a second.
Look, I think a few people have done it. Paytm, we were the first company to launch the solution around it. Paytm launched it just a day after. I think there are 2-3 other companies that are in the race here, in the spirit to launch it as well. There are some individual developers also that have been doing some stuff or the other. Public APIs are there for everyone to access, so it's not like it's it's privileged to any one person. As an institution, as a company, we applied officially. The official application is also there, and the government was quick to respond. So there is no help as such, but the government, I think, has done a tremendous help to the ecosystem by creating public APIs, by providing better access to information, and by taking the support of other tech companies to really help in the vaccination drive. That is what I would say. So, it's just that only companies that have a mission which matches will probably spend the resources on it, because there is no immediate commercial benefit that we are seeing. It's just that it really aligns with our overall mission extremely well. So it makes a lot of sense. And we are India's largest consumer health app. We've got about 22 million users. All of them need help by getting vaccinated. So we felt that's the least we could do for our community.
Dr. Rao, the government has been, of course, talking about becoming Atmanirbhar, self-sufficient, including for the healthcare industry. What has really changed for medical devices? Have perhaps some of the benefits or the announcements really made by the central government? Have you really seen that as a professional in this industry, in this space? What could you tell us?
Yes, certainly. What we see is that now with this Atmanirbhar focus coming in, all these things are falling into place. So we have our own regulatory, we have our Indian Medical Device Regulatory Act in place. And of course, the registry has started opening up from the 1st of April. It has started to enroll this category of devices, and going forward, we will have many more. So that is one very important aspect what we see.
I think the government means every word of what it says. I think the Indian state apparatus, the Indian government has always been keen to get some kind of more and more meaningful self-reliance. I was listening to the Foreign Secretary's comments when he was in London just earlier this week about how being economically and manufacturing self-reliant has become more important in today's world. So I think it was always the motto. It was always the theme. I think the challenge is, and everybody has the same strategy. The challenge is always in execution around it. In our corporate world as well, most of us as businesses or competitors have the same strategies. Who can execute better? So I think the government really means it well. I think the government state apparatus will have to be a lot more agile, a lot more friendly, and reaching out to businesses, reaching out to effectively the business corridors in terms of the various countries, the various companies which could help set up those meaningful industries in the country, make execution of those plans easier. I mean, larger businesses can get the credit very easily in today's world. Liquidity is flush, money for larger credits is easier. It's about the execution and the faster execution on the ground. But at the same time, in terms of feeding that ecosystem, large companies can set up large businesses. And that then benefits the whole SME and the smaller businesses who supply into that system. I think that's where a lot of the heavy lifting needs to happen domestically or ourselves in terms of the things we talked about, in terms of giving credit, in terms of giving them access to better technology, so that it enables them to lower their cost and be competitive versus other smaller suppliers who supply into India, into some of these large manufacturers.
Okay, let me end today's interview by talking about the advice that you have for small businesses then, about any opportunities, anything that you want to do them with.
I would say, please pursue this your dreams and keep seeing your adjacency. See the automobile industry, how it has moved, and you also look at the other industry, the high-tech industry, where things have changed in a big way by bringing in AI, ML, and IoT. So we have the industry 4.0, manufacturing 4.0. There is also going to be healthcare 4.0, which is already showing up. So there is a huge opportunity in the coming days. So this gives us time to think about it, and we can also see practically how things are happening and how they are evolving because of the pandemic. And that is what I would say. Do some design thinking, and you will find a lot of opportunity.
Hopefully this thing does go away soon. Although I guess, in more knowledgeable circles, people who know about it a lot more don't believe that it's going to go away soon. But in terms of the SMEs, I think, it's about focusing on the core. It's, a lot of them have had a lot of pain. It's about, making yourself a lot more slimmer and trimmer in terms of delivering what you can. I think in terms of growth capacity, in the specific sectors you're talking about, there will be growth of capacity needed. A lot of the sectors have really shrunk, so it might take some more time. So I think from that point of view, maybe in co-manufacturing and things like that, the SMEs will have some time to kind of use up their spare capacity and then plan something more for the future. But I think in terms of the key messages for folks are, you get your shop in order, get your basics in order, get your costs down, focus better, get your credit facilities out, get your recognition, get your credibility, make yourself look like a bigger and a better player, which positions you to do better business going in the future.
Thank you so much for your time here on the show. We've run out of time on this panel. There's obviously a lot to discuss. We've just touched the tip of the iceberg. But in the interest of time, we have to close today's panel. If you have any feedback for us as viewers, do let us know. We love hearing from you. Our contact details are coming up on the screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good time.